Imagine, there is a city somewhere on Earth where there are no roads, only water. There is no land, only thousand-year-old wooden pilings standing on the deep sea. A city that is tested daily, not by people, but by storms and floods. Yet it remains steadfast for 1,000 years. This is Venice, a city that sinks but does not surrender. So let's dive into that city. And if you are new to our channel, please subscribe and stay with us. The time of the Middle Ages is known as the Dark Ages of European history. War, aggression, plunder, disease. It seemed the world was burning under a fire. The northern region of Italy in particular was the center of chaos during that time. The occupation by Germanic tribes, the attacks of the Huns, the rise of the Lombards, amidst all these attacks, the lives of ordinary people were miserable. A village would vanish overnight. The inhabitants of that time did what people do to survive. They fled to the sea. But this was a sea where almost no one had ever thought of building a city. Soft mud under the water, the flow of tides, floods. All in all, this place was not habitable at all. Yet, for survival, people believe in the impossible. A city where there is no land. Those who fled first planted small wooden pilings and built small huts. Can you imagine? You are holding a boat with one hand so it doesn't float away, and with the other, you are driving a wooden post into the mud. This is how the birth of the world's strangest city began. Days pass, the population grows. First, wooden pathways like boardwalks were built on the islands. Then, houses were placed on the pilings. Eventually, those floating houses joined one another to create settlements like slums. No one thought this would one day become the world's empire. The most bizarre thing is, this city is not standing on land. The entire Venice stands on millions of wooden pilings, which have become so hard under the sea like stone. Scientists later discovered that the salt water prevents the wood from rotting. Instead, over time, the wood solidifies like stone. This is the city's first surprise. Transformation from a weak start to a city of strength. Initially, life was hard for those who lived here. The open sea, storms, floods. Not much was under control then. But when people are together, strength is created. The islands began to join one by one. Boats were their main means of transport. Instead of considering water as an enemy, they started to turn water into their weapon. Gradually, these small island villages united and were named La Serenissima, meaning the most serene, the most noble republic. From small island to vast empire. As time passed, the Venetian mindset changed. They understood that the sea is their strength. The sea is their future. They built ships, increased trade, and established dominance in the Mediterranean. European merchants brought spices, silk, gems, and perfumes from the countries of the East, India, Arabia, China, to Venice. Venice would then sell them to the rest of Europe at double the price. This is how Venice became the richest city in Europe. The Venetian Republic, 1,100 years of independence. Venice was no ordinary city. It was an independent state. The Republic of Venice, which lasted for 1,100 years, continuously. During this time, they built a powerful navy, magnificent architecture, and numerous palaces. The Venetian navy was so strong that no one could approach their city if they wanted to. Their ships were the most advanced of their time. In trade, diplomacy, and naval warfare, they were the best. They used to say, Venice is married to the sea, meaning the sea is their life. The sea is their strength. If you walk in Venice, every building seems to tell a story. The sound of enemies in the palaces, the smell of trade in the markets, and solace in the churches. Altogether a magnificent atmosphere. In the Renaissance era, Countless artists were born here. Titian, Tintoretto, Caravaggio, Canaletto. Their paintings are still some of the most valuable treasures on earth. Venice was not only a center of trade, but also a center of art, from which the modern European artistic revolution spread. Just as the sea was a friend, it was also Venice's biggest enemy. Fighting with storms, floods, and high tides was the everyday job of the Venetians. The city slowly sinks beneath the sea, sometimes a few centimeters per year. Slowly sinking over centuries, Venice is still called the sinking city. Yet the astonishing fact is the city is still alive, still standing on those very wooden pilings. The beginning of the fall of invincible Venice. In 1797, Venice's thousand-year-old power collapsed. Napoleon Bonaparte was conquering Europe. No one could stop him. Venice initially tried to remain neutral, but Napoleon told Venice, "Help me. Otherwise, your independence will end." Venice refused. In exactly that year, its fall occurred. Napoleon occupied Venice. The Venetian Republic was dissolved. A new era began. Becoming part of modern Italy. After Napoleon, Venice was under Austrian rule for some time. Later, during the Italian unification movement, Venice joined Italy. In 1866, Venice officially became a part of Italy. Today, Venice is not just a city. It is a historical memory, which is a mystery, a wonder to millions of people around the world. Today's Venice is the romantic city of dreams for newlyweds, a pilgrimage site for art lovers, a laboratory for history students, and the wonder of the world in the eyes of explorers. There are no car paths here, no roads. Wherever you look, it's only water. Gondolas, boats, bridges, everything seems like another world. Seeing the colors reflected in the water during sunset, anyone would think, this city is not just built by humans. It seems like a miraculous magic created by time. The city is still sinking. Venice is not destroyed, but it's not stationary either. It is slowly descending, inch by inch, every day. The Earth's temperature is rising, ice is melting, and the sea level is going up. Added to this is Venice's own geographical problem. The soil beneath the sea is also slowly softening and descending. As a result, Venice stands today caught between two forces, the sea pressing down from above and the land sinking from below. Consequently, the city has sunk about 25 centimeters in the last 100 years. Though it seems small, for any city situated beneath the sea, this is terrifying. High tides that shake Venice. A few times every year, Venice experiences a tide called acqua alta, meaning high water. During this time, the city's roads, houses, shops, everything is submerged in seawater. People cannot move without boats. Temporary roads are constructed using tables and iron platforms. At one time, people lived by simply accepting this. But now, it happens that 80% of the city goes underwater in a single day. In November 2019, Venice experienced the most devastating flood in its history. The city was almost completely submerged. Gondolas flipped over, restaurants were filled with water, shop windows shattered, and the city's iconic St. Mark's Basilica was submerged in water. People are scared. Will Venice disappear? The billion-dollar project to save Venice. MOSE. The Italian government initiated a massive project to save Venice. MOSE. Modulo Sperimentale Elettromeccanico. This is a huge system of moving sea gates. For example, when a sudden storm approaches and the water level rises, These gates rise from the seabed and close off the entrances to the city. It is exactly like enclosing the city with a shield. This project has cost nearly 6 billion euros. Overcoming years of corruption, delays, and political conflicts, MOSE is now operational. These gates have been active since 2020. As a result, major floods can now be significantly stopped. Still, the question remains, can this shield save Venice from the future sea? The city of plague. Venice is not only a city of beauty, it was once a city of death, disease, and terror. In the 14th century, the terrifying Black Death plague spread across Europe. 1/3 of Europe's population died. Venice also suffered a major blow from the disease. Thousands of people died within a few days. Entire families would die in a single day. Being a city of commerce, the disease spread rapidly. To combat the disease, Venetians developed a strange method: quarantine. The word that the whole world uses today. This word was born in Venice. Ships were required to wait in the sea for 40 days, Italian, 40 giorni, before entering the city. If anyone had the disease after waiting for that long, it would become apparent. This was a decision that changed history. The mysterious plague island, Poveglia. Next to Venice is a small island named Poveglia. At one time, plague patients were sent here. 80% of this island's soil is reportedly made of the ashes of burnt corpses. The island remains abandoned today. No one goes there. Locals say, when the sea wind is high at night, the sound of people crying can be heard from the island. It is one of the most haunted places on Earth. People's stories tell that the nights of doctors, patients, and fire still linger in the air. The mysterious city. One festival is most famous in Venice: Carnevale di Venezia, the Venice Carnival, where people wear mysterious masks over their faces and celebrate a strange festival. The history of these masks is hundreds of years old. In the past, Venetian society was highly stratified. Rich and poor, leaders and merchants, everyone was separate. But the carnival was the only time when everyone became equal by hiding their identity behind a mask. Behind the mask, no one knew if the person standing next to them was a king or an ordinary worker. This mystery is the true beauty of the carnival. These colorful masks are still one of Venice's primary identities. The city of love, the capital of romance. Venice's waterways, old palaces, and sunsets all combine to make the city known as the most romantic place on earth. Two people ride a gondola, floating through the city's narrow canals, slowly, silently, with the sound of gentle waves. Anyone who visits Venice feels that the city is not just history, it is also filled with love. Many say a romance in Venice is one that can never be forgotten. Venice's strange mystery, the Lost Islands. Many people do not know some lost islands are hidden beneath today's Venice. Submerged by floods, buried underwater. Some parts were even deliberately abandoned under the water. Researchers say more ancient settlements, walls, and old structures still exist beneath the sea. That is why Venice is called a city above a buried city, meaning one city is standing on top of another city. Venice. What is the future ultimately? The world scientists say two things about Venice. Venice will remain because people will continue the fight to save it. The MOSE project, technology, new research, all are helping. If the sea level rises much more in the future, Venice might one day be completely submerged under the sea. But there is one truth here. Venice will never surrender easily. The city that has stood against storms, wars, diseases, floods, everything for 1,000 years, that city will not be easily lost. Why is Venice the wonder of the world? Because it is a city that has roads on water, whose houses have stood for centuries on wooden pilings, was an independent country for 1,100 years, invented quarantine against disease, where every alley tells a story, where love, mystery, and history all are blended together. Venice is not just a city, it is a symbol of human intelligence, courage, and dreams. A city that says an empire can be built on water too.